Welcome to today's video, Exodus 20 verse 4 explained. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. This verse is part of the 10 Commandments, given directly by God to the Israelites on Mount Sinai. Here, God is commanding His people not to create or worship physical representations of anything in the created world. The instruction is broad and absolute. It includes everything in heaven, on earth, and under the sea. The term graven image refers to a carved or sculpted idol, something made by human hands. In ancient cultures, people commonly created idols of their gods to worship them. These idols could be figures of animals, people, or celestial beings like stars or planets. God clearly forbids this practice. The reason for this commandment is rooted in the nature of God. He is spirit, invisible, and not to be reduced to any physical form. When people create images or statues to represent God, they limit His infinite nature to something finite. That leads to false worship, where the focus shifts from the true God to a man-made object. This command is not only about avoiding idols of other gods. It also warns against trying to represent the true God with any physical image. For example, making a statue and saying it represents the Lord is still a violation of this commandment, because it brings God down to the level of created things. The commandment also serves to protect people from spiritual deception. When people begin to associate power or holiness with physical objects, they open themselves up to idolatry. The danger is that worship becomes centered on the object rather than on the living God. In the broader biblical context, this command is connected to how God desires to be known. He reveals Himself through His Word, through His actions in history, and ultimately through Jesus Christ, not through human-made images. Jesus Himself says in John 4 that God is a spirit, and those who worship Him must worship in spirit and in truth. This verse is also a strong reminder that our worship must be based on God's instruction, not human imagination. It's easy for people to think they're honoring God by creating religious art or symbols, but if those things become objects of devotion or distraction, they become idols. In the New Testament, Paul echoes this same idea in Romans 1. He warns that people have exchanged the glory of the incorruptible God for images made like to corruptible man and animals. This leads not only to false worship but also to moral corruption. So Exodus 20 verse 4 is not a restriction meant to take away beauty or expression. It is a safeguard against false worship and a call to keep our relationship with God pure, spiritual, and focused entirely on Him. God wants to be worshipped for who He is, not for how we might imagine or represent Him.